sun is out and our blockade is legal.
There's the blockade.
Join Robin, Sean, Andrew, and Jalen right now.
This is Admiral Radis of the Rebel Alliance. Call up the Brick City Blockade. AP5 has an idea.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Brick City Blockade podcast here live on this fine Wednesday evening following, of course, the Acolyte episode 3 Destiny, which came to us yesterday evening. And boy, oh boy, do we have the reactions to go around. Of course, Mr. Andrew Garrish, Commander Nerd, will be joining us soon here. However, let's throw it around to who's here right now. Of course, over here is my lovely fiance, Miss Shaylin Frost. How are you doing this evening, my lovely, lovely fiance?
I'm good.
Awesome. Fantastic. Love to hear it. I know I checked in with you throughout the day. So
Yeah, like 2 seconds ago.
like just 2 seconds ago. Down there, of course, is my good friend of over 18 years, co-host of the Brick City Blockade. 18 years, Mr. Sean Michaud. Sean, how's it going this evening?
Hello, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good over here. And of course, in the chat here,
Hey,
Lauren
Lauren.
is here. Good to see you.
Welcome.
We are excited to get into the chatter. Again, Mr. Commander Nerd will be joining us very, very soon here as we dig deep into what is episode 3 of the Acolyte that dropped last evening. Lots of people have lots of thoughts about it. I know everybody who's tuning in right now is waiting to see what our thoughts are on this episode. Let me just start off by saying, if this particular episode threw you in a direction where you feel like the Acolyte is not for you, then maybe it's time to take a deeper consideration into, okay, what Star Wars content do I want to take in going forward? Just going to start it off by putting that out there here, but let's get really right into
Stop watching
stuff.
series and just don't even hate stuff. Like, you have other stuff to worry about, other content you can like about. So
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
My
Shaylin.
initial reaction to the responses is, really? Are we really gonna choose homophobia during freaking Pride Month?
Yeah.
Is that really the choice we want to be making? It's June. It's literally the month of Pride.
Yep.
So that was like my first thing with seeing those responses.
I mean, plus we our main character, our main actress is a queer actress.
Yeah. And so it's like, really, we're gonna be taking this stance during
headphones real quick.
Okay.
really gonna be taking this stance during freaking Pride Month is what we're gonna be doing. That is absurd. And anybody who's gonna like come out and say negative things about the queer representation of this last episode or of this series in general, and say that like full-throated, full-chested, really? You really want to be putting your name behind that? Okay, that's that's a choice. My second of all thing is like, this is not new. Like queer representation in Star Wars is long overdue. Our only on-screen confirmation that non-heterosexual relationships exist in the Star Wars galaxy is 2 extras kissing in the back of a scene.
There's a hint of
We were queer baited.
Maybe
for 3
Andor. Maybe the Andor series. Maybe.
We were queer baited for 3 movies about Finn and Poe. Queer baited for 3 whole movies about Finn and Poe, and the fandom desperately wanted that to be a real thing, and the directors and the writers or whatever, somebody shot it down because apparently that's not appropriate. And now we get a canon lesbian couple raising their twin daughters in a happy nuclear family who is embracing all angles of the Force, which we can get into more later.
Yep.
Yeah.
First of all, there is no PDA. They are not
Very
like, they don't do the do. They don't like. They're not like they're a couple, but like only in the loosest sense. They only have a couple of scenes together. They don't even kiss.
Right.
No.
And they're killed at the end of the episode. Spoiler alert! But like they die immediately. And as like
supposedly
as a queer, no, they. I mean, like I'd be very surprised if they're not dead because it's a trope. Okay, it's a trope that queer people that commit for context, y'all. I'm bisexual. I'm openly bisexual. So like but it's known. It's a known trope in the community that the queer characters are killed or they don't get happy endings. They get killed off. They die very shortly after their introduction, or they have a terrible torturous story about how hard it is to exist in the world, whatever. But like that's the trope. We don't get happy endings for LGBT characters. And so to see that and to say, okay, we have a canonic lesbian couple with children in the Star Wars, which is excellent. It was disappointing to see them killed, but I understood why they did it for the context of the story because we knew that they were dead. And then to have all of these well-known Star Wars people in the community come out and say gay witches in space or whatever the frick they said, like, first of all, it's not a surprise because they mentioned Osha's moms, plural, in a previous episode.
Yes.
Yep.
And second of all, like, they got maybe 30 seconds of intimacy on screen with like a face touch. And like that was it. So I'm heated about it. I like that I felt like it was a step in the right direction. I disagree, with the trope that, queer characters always freaking die. But I understood it in the context of the story, so I can kind of distance myself from that a little bit. I would much prefer freaking Finn and Poe being a couple. But I guess, because then they would have had a happy ending, right? But no, we can't have that. And then to have all these people come out and say, oh, it makes no sense. Oh, it's forced. Oh, it's whatever. Like we didn't have Rey and Ben or Rey and Kylo Ren for 3 movies, and we were like, are they siblings? Like it felt icky the whole time. But you're okay with that, but you're not okay with 2 seconds of women touching each other's faces. Like I do not understand.
Or even having Luke and Leia kiss. It's like, really?
Right. No, I mean,
of all things.
Leia, like they are legitimately twin siblings, and you're all okay with that.
Yep.
So incest is okay, but lesbians aren't.
There we go.
Incest is wincest.
That's my soapbox. So
it's a good one. It's a good one because it's what we're seeing in Andrew, Sean, and Shaylin here. I mean, I was really put off. I mean, Andrew was sharing links to some of this. We could really get into it with cosmicbook.com, whoever. But Screen Rant.
.com, an actual like reliable like.
I thought so, right? Like, yeah. But the one that threw me off the most was Forbes magazine.
Yeah.
Their article basically said this is the worst Star Wars ever created. And I'm like, wait a second, hold on. Usually Forbes trends itself towards a very specific direction.
Yep.
So for them to be commenting about Star Wars makes no sense at the end of the day. So there are people that are coming out of the woodworks on this. And hey, by the way, the good friends over at Tatooine Sons podcast said they don't trust anybody who talks about Star Wars with a backward hat, aka Mike Zero and some of the others. So I'm going to turn my hat this way.
You gotta wear it in a fancy fashion.
Got to wear it in a fancy,
down.
right? Like,
well,
like
you
have
made
like
the
3
mistake in
Star Wars
mentioning-
hats. You're not wearing a single one of them.
I know, right? Mixing it up because look, Andrew and I are matching tonight.
We are.
We finally got his t-shirt.
Sorry, I'm not matching tonight. Sorry.
No, but Shaylin, I absolutely hear what you're saying because this narrative is being shoved through the networks and through these news articles and whatever else. And it's not helping anything whatsoever. No. And again, it goes back to how I introduced this podcast, Andrew, which was if this isn't your Star Wars, or if it doesn't appeal to you, then don't watch it.
Or if it's not
simple.
canon.
I know the lore conversation too. That this broke
well, according
lore.
to some Star Wars fans, we're not even true ones because we weren't alive in the 80s.
This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's absurd to me how many people are criticizing this episode in this series for its wokeness.
I hate that. I hate that term that's been using recently.
Just no. You cannot. So to be honest, like I said before, I agree with the way the story went. I agree that her mother, her family, whatever, they had to die for May and Osha's story to make sense.
Sure.
Like I do understand that. But it does play into the dead gay token character trope. And so you cannot have both the dead gay token character trope and wokeness in the same sentence. They don't coexist. Okay.
Yeah,
so putting characters in there, the dead gay is in there, and also calling it woke, it's not a thing. I think people might have also been hiding behind their homophobia, hiding their racism behind their homophobia.
Yep. Because they're still talking shit
nothing.
about Soul. And
Not for nothing.
Lee Jung Jae.
But like, no, but think about it. A person of color, a black woman, was the head of their coven. She was the strongest and most respected person in their coven.
Right.
And she just so happened to also.
Jodie played it really great.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. Oh my God, excellent! One of my favorite characters so far.
Yeah.
But she played an excellent character. She played the best mother we've ever seen on screen in Star Wars. I don't think we've ever seen a character being an excellent mother on Star Wars. Yeah.
I mean,
she had more screen time with her child. There was interactions with her and her child, and Shmi didn't really have that. But then she just so happens to be gay, so we can hide our racism behind our homophobia because for some reason that's better. I don't know. No, I loved the episode, and I'm upset that people are criticizing it so heavily. And I think they really need to take a step back and take a look at what they're actually saying. Because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. No, and Andrew, I know you're just hopping into this now, and again, folks, Commander Nerd has entered the room here. How are you doing this evening, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good. I brought my Taco Bell with me.
Hey, there we go. There we go. So, what are your takeaways from this episode, Andrew? We'll kick it over to you after Shaylin here because I think
that someone from the Jedi is a big liar about what happened.
Right?
Yeah, we texted last night.
The other thing I realized, the actor who plays Torben is also Tommen from Game of Thrones. He's played two characters that have killed themselves.
Look at that. Interesting.
Maybe he just has one of those faces.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's dark.
Damn.
It's an innocent suicide face. I don't know.
So you think that there's something they're hiding something here, Andrew? Basically,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you see the screenshot of him after when he comes back and he has the scar? Like we didn't see the scar before.
With Torben,
I think it's Kalnaka that gave him the scar.
Interesting. Okay.
I think because the witches took over his mind, they either do it again or he retaliates from it. And he's like, you're never going to do that again. Or because I forget the Zabrak's character's name, but she was like fire ready aim. So she was ready to fight.
That was Mother Coral. Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I think she could have started the fight because she didn't want Osha to go with the Jedi. And someone also pointed out it's interesting that May wants to stay with the moons and everything like that, and then Osha goes with the sun because Soul's name would be Sun.
That's super interesting.
Again, Soul is amazing. Really liked how warm he felt in the episode. Even 16 years earlier, he's still
same guy.
Gentle. Like he's not stoic like Indara.
Right.
Indara's like, no, we're taking your kid. Then he's like, hey, here's a lightsaber. You want one?
Take it back
very
a little
similar,
bit. Yes.
Yeah.
Very similar vibes to Obi-Wan a little and Qui-Gon. More like Qui-Gon then.
Yeah.
But overall, I didn't mind that it slowed down and
Right.
showed how the witches were, because these are definitely different witches from Dathomir. And
Yeah,
I
very.
like how they talk about the Force as a threat and not just being this mystical Force energy.
Mm-hmm,
And I like, I'm sorry, I like how they manipulated the thread to create May and Osha.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of Anakin fanboys that are going to be mad that they're chosen.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
We've seen that.
but
Yeah.
honestly, the Jedi didn't really read the prophecies. There's 1,000 prophecies of everything. So,
Mm-hmm.
and the way I see it is they're going the dyad territory, like in the sequel trilogy, because, granted, it's a throwaway line from Palpatine, but he says there hasn't been a power like this in generations. The timeline would kind of make sense.
Right. Right. It all adds up in that way. And
Mhm.
that was one of the notes that I took from this, Sean and Andrew and everybody here, was that, kind of just going back. And this is what I was messaging you all about. And I sat with Shaylin watching this. And I'm like, this is feeding into my theory. This is feeding perfectly into my
A
theory.
Star Wars theory.
A Star Wars theory, maybe. No, not even close. But
No, you have more hair than him.
when you're talking about, when you're talking about the thread and then manipulating the thread within the Force in order to create Osha and May, right? There are Force users across the years, going all the way back to the Old Republic, that explored this possibility.
Valkorian being one of them.
Exactly. Which, by the way, when we get to our top 5 Sith, who knows?
I think that might be a spoiler.
Maybe I don't know. We'll get into that. But the most famous one that we know within canon, I would say within canon, is Plagueis, the ability to manipulate midi-chlorians in order to create life. And it really digs deep into, and just looking at the timeline and everything else, I know Plagueis is probably at this point about 15 years from being born, essentially, when we're looking at this timeline, according to the Plagueis novel and everything else. However, what have we noticed with Dave Filoni's Star Wars and this Disney era? That they're not afraid to do what?
That's all woke and trash.
Yeah, exactly. That they're not afraid to go in and move some timelines up a little bit and make some changes. I think
look at Thrawn.
Yeah, exactly.
He wasn't there during the Civil War. Obviously, he was, but we didn't know what he did. So
That's right. And I think at this point, when we're moving in the direction of talking about this, I mean, I think this episode, but with Mother Anessa and Mother Coral, really brings up the conversation of there is still somebody behind the scenes that they are answering to, or that they are learning.
And who's to say that they didn't teach Plagueis how to do that?
Exactly my point here. Darth Plagueis, it's really building up to that. Darth Plagueis is the one with the ultimate strings in this case, and that's where the learning of these techniques are coming from. Plagueis would be the one that would teach them and say, hey, listen, this is neither for good nor bad, but this can be used in a way. This power can be used in a way to not just extend your life or to bring on new life, but to basically
create an air for you.
Yes, exactly. So I think what we're doing here, and I think people need to step back and take a look at the bigger picture of this episode.
Need to touch the grass.
Yeah, exactly, right? They need to take a look at what Mother Anessa and Mother Coral brought to this episode with the young story of Osha and May. It brings in the lore, and I'm tired, and I'm gonna get mad. I'm getting sick and tired of hearing people say it's messing with the lore. How dare you bring up the word lore in this case? I'm sorry, folks. What it's doing is it's extending it. It's giving it even more purpose, and it's going to bring back some characters that the fanboys are going to be like, oh my goodness, they did it. They're bringing Plagueis to the screen. Well, guess what? If you don't have episode 3 of The Acolyte, it's not there. It's not there. So I think it's one of those episodes, and I agree with Shaylin.
But they're disrespecting George Lucas.
I know, right? It's insane.
You think any of this would have made it to the screen if he had violent opposition to it?
No.
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 Absolutely not.
He
Everything
created
is through him as a
midichlorians.
courtesy. There's no way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's no way that he
Yeah.
would let something on the screen if he was vehemently opposed to it. Or
Yeah.
he would make that known publicly that he
Yeah,
was
like-
vehemently opposed to it.
Like the old Legends books, he's like, those don't matter. They never did.
Yeah. No.
Yep. I think the one character that comes out of this too, I'll throw this around. Mother Coral is the one character that is fascinating to me because
I love Mother Coral.
Mother Coral, we don't really see them at all at
Mhm.
any point. Mother Coral is behind, I personally think, is behind a lot of this. We have
I didn't realize that she was the one who carried the twins until halfway through. You just kind of assume that.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot there's a lot more writing for Mother Coral here, I feel.
Yeah.
Because there's a connection. Sean, what do you think? Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have a theory, but I've been reading the High Republic comics, and
Yeah.
when I was watching this episode and how they were like taking over the Torben, it kind of reminded me of how the Dengar, the roots of trees that do.
Yes.
That is exactly where it's from, too.
Yeah, which fascinating going back and forth with reading the comics and reading that. It's like, oh, could be something similar to like having like not the Acolyte would be the Dengar at all, but like the Master would be the Dengar. I don't know. That would be really interesting if it was that.
Right.
Like
the connective tissue between the comics, the canon stuff that you're reading in this. Yeah.
It is a very, very interesting concept in the comics. How like they literally what they're doing, they literally take their life forces and just control them, like in and out.
That's really cool. That's really cool. And with May and Osha splitting, and the assumption, right, based on the way the scene played out, that May was the one that caused all this stuff, that May was the one that caused all this to happen. I think we are heading down that pathway, and it's funny. I think at first it's easy to say, oh, May, but then you start adding the pieces up, and you're like, wait, hold on, Mother Coral's not there, and then we're getting cut scenes where Kelnaka is going after Torben, right, with his lightsaber on, and guns ablaze essentially, and then we have just Soul.
But it's also like, how did Soul get from the ground level to where they're at?
There's a whole piece missing there. Did you notice
I
that?
hope Soul's not lying to us.
I really hope not. But Shaylin, you and I were saying Soul is a kind soul, but he's covering something.
He has some demons.
I don't know. I wasn't saying that. I think that.
That was me who said.
Oh, that was Sean that said that before. I'm sorry. Yes.
No, I think that he's being lied to. I don't think that he would consciously lie to.
So you think he got there like when everything happened?
Yeah, and I think he thought that May was dead because he saw her fall.
Yeah.
And
he did try and catch them both.
Osha, he did, and I think that he's being lied to. I think that Inara and the Padawan, gosh, I forget his name, Torben. I think that they are definitely behind it, and I don't know what to make of the Wookiee yet. But
we barely got like much of the Wookiee in this episode.
I do like that he's still like, in terms for Wookiees, he was working on a speeder bike. He was like being a mechanic, like they. Yeah.
I mean, he did have an interaction with Osha,
right,
very quickly,
and they seem to already have like that kind of connection,
right?
But it's like we don't know what Kelnaka said, which I do like that they're doing. There's no subtitles. But it does make me remember the holiday special, and when there's full scenes of two Wookiees, there's no subtitles.
Yeah, I know, it makes things a little bit difficult, right? Especially come the holiday times. You got to know what those Wookiees are saying in the holiday special. I think there is just, if folks were looking for answers, there was nothing that came out of episode 3 that gave you answers, other than the backstory of Osha and May, which
That's what I was waiting for. Is when I said the last episode, I was like, you know what? I'm waiting for more backstory and how their relationship will and change. It's like, oh, we found out their backstory of the relationship between the twins, and see how that's going to go forward in the future episodes.
Right. And you notice that Star Wars recently, especially under Disney here, has had the history of introducing us to a series. And by episode 3 or episode 4, we're getting the backstory to everything that's happened within the first 2 to 3 episodes. That is historically how Disney has done it. So for folks to say, oh, well, we're going back and it feels like filler by doing that, it's always been this way.
Yeah.
This is how the series have all played out. So,
just like when you thought with Star Wars Rebels, when they introduced the space whales, that would mean nothing.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yes, and I agree. Hyperspace heroes rocking the tattoos on the. I did point that out to Shaylin about the shaved part of the head and how he had tattoos on it. Yeah, super cool.
The costumes in this episode were great, especially Mother and
I don't get how people say that this show looks like it's a CW show. I'm like, what CW show? What CW show has this budget?
No, who said that?
I don't even remember. Yeah, people
just the really location like be haters, don't they?
People want to be haters.
People be haters.
So this is the thing too. Like, it's one thing when folks come out and say, I didn't enjoy the episode because of this, 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 and this. Okay, so you're opening up the conversation as to why, which is fine. I'm willing to have that conversation and go through even an argument and debate things with you on that. But when folks are like, I hate it, Star Wars is woke, we're done, Star Wars is dead, that's it. Then
killed the canon.
Yeah, right. Which, by the way, happy late birthday to Kathleen Kennedy once again.
Yes.
You know, it just drives me crazy. This episode did so much, not just for the backstory of Osha and May, but I loved one of the comments. I believe it was Star Wars Thrifting on Twitter said, this is getting me all up in my sister feels, which if you have a sibling, right? Shaylin, you have a younger sister, right?
I do. This episode was very real for me because we grew up, we were very close together. 2 girls. She's about 2 years younger than me. They both sucked. They both sucked at different points of the episode. Osha sucked because she was ruining it for May. May just wanted her to shut up and stand over there. I can relate. May sucked, obviously, because she was trying to control Osha and she was violent and angry and aggressive. And they were
the part when they were fighting. It was so funny to me.
So actually, the part that got me more was when Mom had to drag May away.
Yes.
Yeah.
That I related hard to that.
Yeah.
So it made a lot of sense. They were 8-year-olds behaving like 8-year-olds. It made perfect sense. And so I don't think a lot of the Star Wars folks, correct me if I'm wrong, have a lot of exposure to young children. So maybe that's why you didn't like this episode, because they weren't behaving rationally or they weren't behaving in a way you could understand. Friend, they're 8. They're children. They're babies. They're prepubescent.
Yeah.
They're little. And this makes perfect sense. It's completely developmentally appropriate for them to lash out and question authority and have demands and be curious and be angry and frustrated and passionate, and that's totally normal for kids. If that was part of your problem with the episode, you're not around kids enough.
Yeah,
they were Anakin also didn't have a sibling either, so
yeah, they also were like, oh, Anakin wasn't like this annoying or anything like that. It's like, well, what?
Yeah, he totally freaking was.
Well, not even that, but it's like Anakin had to grow.
Also, there was only one of him. So.
And Anakin had to grow up fast because he was a slave, so he had to basically
take care of his mom.
Well, we don't know what his mom did as a job as a slave. Just saying.
Yeah.
But either way, Anakin had to grow up faster. Granted, May and Osha, they had their ritual. Which I like how they did that. Like, are you ready or are you willing to do this to progress.
Right.
And obviously May was like, yeah. Osha's like, no. But that will also go through her Jedi training.
Right.
Because it feels like she's always had an issue connecting with the Force or the threat and stuff like that.
I just have to comment here. Hyperspace Heroes podcast posting, and for the audio listeners, Hyperspace Heroes podcast just shared with us, there are minor production things that give it the feel of a first season production like STNG first season, but should smooth out in future seasons. Still enjoying the show and the characters, though. Listen, exactly. If there are production things, if you are somebody who has knowledge about the production aspect of things, fine. That's a great conversation to have with folks.
Yeah.
Still enjoying the... Let me bring this up again for folks, for Star Wars fans out there. Still enjoying the show and characters, though.
Oh, but Leslie Headland was an assistant to Harvey Weinstein and all that bullshit.
Goodness, I know. Like people just need to just... But I agree with Hyperspace Heroes podcast here. Like, yes, I've been seeing folks talk about the production value and all this other stuff. That's fine. A first season is going to do that. This thing has been green. The Acolyte's going to have a second season. These are the kinks. These are the things that folks work out that work on these shows. Right?
The Mandalorian had the same.
I know.
Thing.
There were times when we were watching The Mandalorian, we're like, they could work on that. They could do that.
You can't say that Mandalorian was perfect from start to finish.
Yeah. Is that what you're saying, Andrew?
That's what my burrito says.
Oh, well, the burrito says all, according to this.
All hail the burrito.
All hail the burrito. Anyway, but I mean, I think my
Also,
overall...
spoiler alert.
Yeah, go ahead.
A High Republic book released the day before Acolyte, which I think is pretty perfect timing.
That's pretty freaking
I love
cool.
the title of the book, Temptation of the Force.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
And a certain green Muppet has a cameo in it.
That's true.
Kermit the Frog?
Yes.
Yes, Kermit is in there somewhere, I'm sure.
And Miss Piggy.
Shaylin, final thoughts here on episode 3 of the Acolyte takeaways, something that you are looking forward to maybe seeing or hopefully seeing, or something you would like to see heading into episode 4. With the next episode of the Acolyte coming up on next Tuesday, live on Disney Plus.
It's not live. I'm interested to see if the next episode is going to be a continuation of the flashback, or if it's going to be back to the current timeline that we left off in the first 2 episodes. I feel like it could go either way, honestly, because we're about to pick up on
we don't have a title for episode 4 yet, right?
No. And I do like that they're keeping that basically under wraps until the episode comes out.
Okay. It could either pick up with Osha's Jedi training and with whatever happens to May after that, or it could pick back up in the adult timeline that we left off on episode 2.
I think it might go back to the current timeline. Because there's another shot in the previews where it shows Jackie training at the Jedi Temple. So it could be when Soul, unfortunately, is like, all right, I'm coming back to the temple, even though we shouldn't. And maybe Osha picks up her Jedi training again. And then they get the call like, hey.
Or maybe it's a fast forward to before she stopped her Jedi training.
It could be that too. I just hope Kelnaka doesn't die, because we need a Wookiee Jedi. I don't want him to
Probably
go
not
out.
in this episode.
Hopefully not the case. But yeah, I'm excited to see where they go. And yeah, still about 95% sure that I keep forgetting his name, but the one who supplied the poison is definitely either not Torben, the supplier.
Kimir.
I'm pretty sure, 95% sure, not going full 100, that he's either the acolyte,
Mhm.
and he's trying to initiate other acolytes for the either master or the apprentice that's trying to overthrow.
I think it's too obvious that he
Master.
would be the Acolyte.
You think so, Sean?
Yeah.
I don't know, but like Sith or acolytes would kind of hide in plain sight. I mean, look at Palpatine; he was right in
True.
front of them.
Yeah. Sean, what do you think?
Also, I want more
Yeah.
gayness in
I-
acolyte, more gayness.
I
love
think
that.
we're gonna next episode. I think we're gonna pick up where instead of Osha, it's gonna start with May again, and with the Acolyte, because I feel like we're gonna see more of that, and then go back to Osha and like Andrew said, going back to maybe doing training again with Soul.
Yeah, I like that direction. I think that we've received enough teaser content and whatever else up to this point that I think we're going to bounce between, exactly what happened, on Brendock, and then also go to what happened directly after with May. Kind of that, we're not going to tell you the full story about what actually happened, but what we're going to show you is May leading down.
I mean, do we see May and the Acolyte go back to Brendock?
I don't know. That's a
Be
great
interesting,
question.
and then it could tie into like Jedi Fallen Order, where some Jedi can sense like Force echoes, which are ripples in the Force, and they can see or hear stuff that happened in the past.
Right. Yeah,
but the other thing I wanted to point out
go ahead.
is it kind of bringing it back to a certain movie that we don't exactly enjoy, but The Last Jedi. Look at Luke and the Kylo Ren situation. All different like perspectives of what actually happened.
Right.
So someone's not telling the truth. And I'm pretty sure it's Torben.
Yeah. We should possess a Jedi and get them fighting Trinity and Tobin. Trinity and Tobin kill the witches while Soul is looking for Osha.
I can see that.
Gets knocked out or something so he can get absolution. Wow. Okay. That's a really interesting theory about what could happen here.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Like that.
That's a really
But
good
also
one.
like Torben, well, actually, yeah, that would throw it back to like Anakin
it
and Obi-Wan fighting because Torben is her Padawan.
That's right. So there's definite balance there. There's the one thing I think this episode and my hopes for next episode is that everything I think is going to happen in next episode is wrong. That's literally how I'm writing all these episodes.
I also think May's gonna, if she has the power to also control someone, I think she would control Soul, try to kill Osha.
Yeah,
that would be interesting.
Actually,
or the opposite, have Osha try to kill Soul.
Because Jay came up with this theory at work, and it's like, what if they do a complete 180 and Osha turns in May? They do a swap, basically.
Do a parent trap.
So you're saying this entire time that they think they've been talking to Osha when they're talking to May, and May is the one that's now on the inside.
Yeah,
that'd be a twist. As massive things
but we
fall
don't.
in the background.
But they literally say their names though.
Yeah, but I don't. I think they say their names. That's fine. But I mean, I think that there's definite play here. If
maybe,
I don't
know.
It's a fascinating theory. It's definitely one that could play out. But again, I mean, just to get back to it, I hope everything that I'm thinking could happen for episode 4 doesn't happen. I want Leslie to surprise us. I want Leslie to take us in a complete different direction than where we're thinking the next episode could go.
I mean, so far she has.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. So I mean, it happened every show that we want, every Star Wars show that we watch. So we can never get our predictions right.
That's right. So we'll have to wait and see, folks. Next Tuesday will be episode 4.
But can I get your predictions on our top 5 Sith though?
Oh, I know. That's the thing, right? We're gonna head right into that direction, of course, here. That's right, folks. As we're heading out of the Acolyte conversation, we're moving into a very special section as we're hypothesizing around, maybe there's Sith at play within the Acolyte. Maybe there's
I mean, there
something.
definitely is.
Yeah, but again, I want to be surprised, right? I want to be completely surprised. Let's move into our top 5 Sith of all time here from the Brick City Blockade podcast crew. And of course, over on Twitter at Real Fandom Talk, we posted. Thank you for sharing that out, Andrew, by the way.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. That we want to hear what your top 5 Sith of all time are as well, using the hashtag top 5 Sith list. Make sure to share that out across social media. We will be posting those, reposting those. I'm actually checking Twitter, folks, for the audio listeners right now to see if we have any top 5s. My guess would be it is, Dave.
Actually, that's very true of what Hyperspace Heroes says. Osha will get hurt when she finds out Soul didn't tell 100% of the truth of what happened. He pulls an Obi-Wan from a certain point of view thing.
I can see that.
I mean, that is basically what he said. Like, things happened, and like I saw May die, and then he's like, "I believe you." So it's like,
Let's get into it, folks. Top 5 Sith of all time. Let's start it over as Hyperspace Heroes podcast is in the chat sharing their top 5. Let's see how it lines up. Mr. Sean Michaud, let's start with you. Number 5.
Number 5. Let's try to keep this short. So we don't want to go over to 2 hours.
Of course, yeah.
For my number 5 is the one and only Asajj Ventress.
Ooh,
yeah, I have her at number 5. Love her getting introduced in the Clone Wars and having her as a Sith bounty hunter is really cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mr. Commander Nerd, your number 5.
Oh, you have to ask me when I have a mouthful.
Of course, yeah. That's what I ask you.
Darth Nihilus is number 5.
Oh, okay. I feel
because
like that name's going to come up again.
He can eat an entire planet.
Yep. He can go country buffet style. Yep.
He basically is a walking Grim Reaper in a way. His spirit is attached to his armor, so he doesn't even have a physical body anymore.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And he has a dope mask.
It's a really dope mask. Shaylin, how about yourself?
I don't know that many Sith.
I don't know if that's true.
Okay, I think my 5th, like this is the bottom. We're working our way up to number 1. Okay, so probably Sidious.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice. It's a good choice. It's a good choice for. Is there any reason why, or is it because
I like other ones better?
Ah, there we go. There we go. I like that answer.
That's all. Also,
that's a perfect answer.
Good answer.
Deranged politicians are triggering to me, so I gotta put them at the bottom of the list.
I like it.
Also, great iconic line. Do it.
Do it.
Do it. Number 5 for me is no. Stop that. No, number 8, Hyperspace Heroes has Revan at number 5.
Is yours number 5?
No, my number 5.
What's your number 5?
Darth Bane, the founder, the creator of the Rule of 2. Super important. I just love the Clone Wars.
Well, which version of Bane? Is it when he has that armor that fucks him up, or or is it Dark Council and he kills everyone?
Dark Council. Darth Bane is dope.
So pre-armor.
Correct, pre-armor.
Though the armor's dope, but it does fuck him up.
the Darth Bane novels are just so good and really goes deep into the foundation of the Rule of 2. If you want to understand Plagueis, if you want to understand Sidious, if you want to even understand the history that goes into how Count Dooku understood the Sith, it goes all the way back to Darth Bane. As we know, Dooku was a historian. Dooku looked deep into the lore of the Sith. I would say, Lord Tyrannus himself Darth Tyrannus himself, whatever you want. I've heard Lord Darth, all of them under the sun. I would say that he is the ultimate historian when it comes to understanding the origins of the Sith. And, looking deep into that lore. Oh, I used the word lore. I shouldn't have done that.
You son of a bitch.
Mr. Sean Misho, how about your number 4?
My number 4 is Vader, Darth Vader.
Oh, Darth Vader made the list. Okay.
Yeah, he did make the list. Iconic villain, really iconic villain of all time. He literally could defeat almost everyone. Almost everyone.
Almost.
Yeah. Almost. That's right, I said almost. Not everybody. Almost.
Not that pesky hermit from Tatooine, though.
Oh, Andrew.
He only beat Obi-Wan because Obi-Wan's like, all right, I'm going to peace out.
Commander Nerd, give us your number 4, top 5, 7.
Was Sean done?
Yeah, I guess Sean's done, yeah.
I guess I'm done. Sure, Andrew, go ahead.
My number 4 is Darth Malgus.
Ooh, good choice.
Malgus is essentially Darth Vader on steroids. He basically wiped out the entire Jedi Temple with an army of Sith. And the fact that, one, he was manipulated to just follow blindly to the Emperor. And, well, come to find out, he was kind of like, they put like a inhibitor chip in his skull, basically like the clones, to make him follow blindly. And he actually was able to break that. So it was actually, he broke off from the Sith Empire. So he's kind of on his own right now. But yeah, his armor is dope. His look is dope. And his lightsaber is pretty cool.
I like that choice. Shaylin, who do you have? Number 4.
I'm trying to think of my other ones. I think I only have 4.
That's fine.
You could do 4 and 3 together.
All right, well then I guess my first one's gonna come up first then. Vader would be number 3 for me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Vader. Okay. Same reasons as Sean?
I like Anakin / Vader better as a Grey Jedi than as a Sith. I don't think that he... Well, but I can't deny how epic that character was in the original trilogy. Therefore, number 3.
Nice. I like that. That's it.
4, not 3.
Yep, number 4 for me is Darth Sidious, the ultimate puller of the strings.
I mean, he was so bored he created an entire war.
He created an entire
to
war.
fight himself.
He somehow Palpatine returns. He
Again.
created through all kinds of cool sciences. Supreme Leader Snoke and others.
I mean, he was the best part of Rise of Skywalker, so...
Yeah, this is very true. Darth Sidious at number 4 is an easy choice for me. Because I think... I thought about number 3 or number 2, but then I'm like, that would not be true to me to leave out or move number 3, number 2, and number 1 down. So we'll come to find out who those are. Number 3 for Sean Misho. Who do you have?
Mine is... Count Dooku or Lord Tyrannus or Darth Tyrannus, or however you want to say it.
Or Saruman.
Saruman.
Yes.
Saruman.
Or Wilbur Wonka.
Yeah.
Andrew Garish.
What?
Let Sean answer.
I just named every character Christopher Lee has been.
Christopher Lee again. I had Count Dooku on my top Jedi list as well, and just because, like Robin, you said how he was a great historian for the Sith. It's true.
It's not even that.
You gave me the answer.
It's the Jedi as well. Like he was the only one that paid attention to the prophecies.
Right.
he stayed true what he believed in.
Mhm.
I mean, for both sides, and that's what I admire him about. And he had one of the best lightsabers of all time, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The best hilt too. So
Sweet deal.
Andrew,
Mr. Parrish. what you got?
Mine is also Count Dooku. Solely because one, Christopher Lee killed it in the role, and just knowing why he turned
Mhm.
makes sense because Qui-Gon was that tipping factor. And when Qui-Gon was killed, because the Jedi were like, nah, we don't believe Sith are back. Go protect the Queen. And then figure out what's going on with the Sith. And just that he was able to, one, he left, but obviously he was already on his way to becoming a Sith, is he used his political mask to fund basically the Separatists.
Yeah.
But it's also like, how much money was Dooku like pouring into the Separatist cause?
Right.
It's
a very good point.
If you want more on Dooku's past, read the book Jedi Lost. It's one of the best
so
Star
good.
Wars novels. And it makes you understand Dooku a lot more.
Absolutely.
Even Master and Apprentice, the Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan book, because it deals a lot with Dooku in that as well.
Yeah. Shaylin, who do you have?
You did a
I
3.
forgot about.
Oh,
Dooku.
you already did a 3. Oh, you forgot about Dooku?
I forgot about Dooku.
You can't do that.
Can I just do my whole 5 instead of just? I can't keep track.
Sure, okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
The floor is yours, Shaylin. Yes.
All right. 5, Palpatine.
Yep.
4, Dooku. 3, Vader. 2, Maul, because I really liked I thought his character design was epic, and I really like how they gave him more of a story in the Clone Wars.
Mhm.
And 1 is Asajj, because she feels like the opposite of Ahsoka to me, and I like a strong female in power, and I like how she went from being a Sith, being a Sith Padawan, I guess you want to call it, whatever, to being a very truly gray Jedi. I love a gray Jedi, obviously. I've made that known time and time again. But it's very interesting for me to see that most of the gray Jedi that we are familiar with in the canon come from the light to the middle. We don't really see anybody coming back from the dark. And I don't think Anakin counts because that happened on his deathbed, like as the life was leaving his body. So I don't count that.
But do you?
I mean, it counts. It counts on a technicality, but no. But I liked that she came back from the dark side into the middle, and that's probably why she's my favorite Sith.
Do you think if Anakin lived and everything like that, do you think he would have been more in the middle, like a gray, or do you think he would have gone?
He would have had to do a ton of work to repair what he broke. I don't know if it would have been possible for him to get back into the middle, or to have a fulfilling life after being Vader. We forget that he was instrumental in the destruction of his daughter's planet, an entire planet, and every culture and every person on that planet no longer exists because of him. And he killed so many children and so many people, and we don't even know what he did in between. Like, I mean, there are some like lore books and comics and whatever, but between the prequels and the original trilogy, what else did he rot? Like, what other damage did he do? And so I don't think there was enough life left in him to repair the damage that he made. I think that the best end to his story was the one that he got.
He deserved it.
I didn't say that.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I love that. That was a Shaylin Frost mic drop moment right there. That was perfect. Look at that. My number 3 is, of course, Darth.
Boo.
Why?
Darth who? I couldn't hear what you said because Andrew was saying boo.
Because he just started booing. Number 3 for me is Darth Plagueis. The ability to we laid it out before.
There we go,
Manipulate midichlorians. He understood the Sith teachings from Darth Tenebris himself. I think we forget along the lines that Plagueis manipulated his master completely. He understood Tenebris's complete flaws and inabilities, and was like, "Yeah, you know what? I'm done with you. Yeah, Darth Bane rule. Yeah, okay, no, you're going away." And Tenebris really showed his cards towards the end, and Plagueis was able to manipulate him and get what he wanted out of it. And
then Palpatine basically did the same thing.
Same thing, exactly. And that was Plagueis' fault, because
Plagueis did kind of make Palpatine murder his entire family.
Exactly. So
I feel like it was probably going to happen eventually anyway with Palpatine.
Of course.
Because he was already fascinated with the Sith anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was doing some inner research.
But it's one of those things, like, what if the Jedi found Palpatine before Plagueis? Like, how would that have changed everything?
Ladies and gentlemen,
would Palpatine would still turn? Or
right. Yeah, it's very true.
And it's Yoda that trains him.
It's Yoda.
It was Yoda all along.
Well, I mean, if Palpatine was a Jedi.
Right. Sean Michaud, how about number 2 for you?
My number 2 is also the same as Shailen's, Maul.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. I had Maul just because his complex character of going from Phantom Menace, we know nothing about him except he was an apprentice to Sidious, and he gets cut off. Yeah, and then supposedly we thought he died. He didn't. Supposedly, and then we have him come back in the Clone Wars, which is like very complex of his character, and I just love his.
He definitely talked a lot more.
Yeah, he did.
He had some words to share. That's for sure.
He killed Obi-Wan's woman.
Yeah, let's move on from that. That was a very sad moment.
Yeah, Andrew, what's your 2?
Mine is Darth Vader.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're right. It should be number 1, but this guy just he won by a landslide. What else could be said about Darth Vader? He is one of the most iconic villains. I mean, he is basically a walking giant robot that doesn't need to rest. He's gonna come at you whether his mask is damaged, he's been stabbed. Hell, even one of the comics when he fought a vision of Maul, he even stabbed himself to kill that version of Maul. So, and the thing that I like about Vader is it's not his hatred for others that makes him so strong. It's his hatred for himself.
Mm-hmm. It's a very good point. My number 2 is everything that Andrew has just encompassed. Oh, you can boo it. No, for folks who are listening, he just booed. Thank you, Sean. But number 2 for me is also Darth Vader. You can boo it, but it's the same answer as you. What'd you do, Sean?
Nothing.
Okay, we're moving on. He understood the history and practices of the past when it came to the Sith. I mean, Palpatine was the best possible master you could probably ask for. I would say for Vader, probably the best possible person because he was so whiny. Even as Vader, when he didn't get what he wanted.
Yeah, I suppose.
Especially
but at the
Vader
same
comics.
time, if Revan was his master or Malik for that,
they would have been like, "We're done with you."
Yeah,
he is unteachable.
That's Palpatine's fault. It's all Palpatine's fault.
Yeah,
it is. It is at the end of the day. But anyway, I really bring it back to the Vader comic series, seeing his side journeys, seeing all the other things, all the other tasks he was given by Palpatine along the way just made it so interesting and so insightful. And I just didn't know that there was that level to Vader's story as the Star Wars comics, started building up and whatever else, especially with the Vader series. So that's why he's at number 2 for me specifically. Let's move into, of course, the most important part of a top 5 rank, which is not just
Number
the journey
1.
along the way, but number 1 itself.
Number 1.
Sean Michaud, number 1.
Literally at that 1 hour mark, you said that.
Look at that. Love it.
Well, yeah, my number 1 is Andrew's number 5, which is Darth Nihilus.
Ooh, I knew Nihilus would come back.
Yes,
you have been a huge Nihilus fan.
Ever since I learned
about
him.
He was the first boss I had you guys fight in Dungeons and Dragons, so
this is true. Yeah.
it's
true.
I mean, when I learned about
Somehow
him
you
the very
guys
first
made it,
time,
but-
he was like one of the coolest characters, like Star Wars Lords I ever laid my eyes on. Or in that mask is like one of the best masks ever, I think. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Andrew, like you said,
though,
he can eat a whole planet. So how can you not love him?
Well, there's a gremlin in the background.
She snuck her way out. Andrew, how about you? Number uno.
My number 1. You can say he is not a Sith all you want, but he does use dark side powers. Is Baylan Skoll.
Baylan Skoll is number 1. Good choice. Yeah.
Because of how Ray Stevenson played the character.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very much like Dooku, where he still has a bit of honor to him, but he's not opposed to killing you if he has to.
Yeah, no, Baylan Skoll. I had a feeling.
Plus, he has dope lightsabers as well.
Yeah, I had a feeling that Baylan was going to come up there for you. I mean, just everything that character brought to us in Ahsoka, and knowing that there's probably more backstory there to Baylan that we have not explored just yet. I love that choice at number 1. My number 1, no surprise here, somebody I care for dearly in terms of Star Wars lore, and once that Black Series helmet comes out, it is mine. It is Darth Revan himself.
I'm surprised they haven't done one yet.
I know there's been rumors of it for a long time. May the 4th.
Robin, you're the only Revan on the list.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, Darth Revan. Just loved his backstory, his character development, the way in which he ruled the galaxy with Malik and then ultimately turned on Malik.
Well, Malik turned on him.
Turned on him. I have
but he did
I have
remove
my thoughts.
Malik's jaw.
Yeah, I have my thoughts about that. Especially the way that it's outlined in the books. But when he
maybe a whole episode dedicated to it.
It would be great to do that.
Yeah.
But he founded.
Robin reads the Old Republic to you.
That'd be cool. Do a voiceover. The foundation of the Sith Empire.
On Patreon.
When he destroyed Mandalore, the ultimate. I mean, just an absolute powerhouse. And to know that Darth Revan also had that redemption arc, right? We talk about redemption arcs.
Well, if you wanted him to.
I like to. I like to.
Yeah.
Legit.
Legit for sure.
If we did a top
I got
10,
Revan.
he definitely would have been on that list, but
yeah,
we had to narrow it down to 5.
We did indeed.
We went long last time.
We did. And speaking of going long, just like a Travis Kelce to Patrick Mahomes to Travis Kelce pass, we have hit that time with our top 5, with our Acolyte review. It's that time of the podcast. It's a little thing we like to call plug time. Here at the Brick City Blockade podcast, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in. Let's start over with Mr. Sean Michaud. Where can the good people find you, reading him across social media?
You guys can follow me on Twitter at Sean Michaud1, Instagram at ZoneZ, and you could add me on Facebook. I may or may not add you. So
you can also find him on the Brick City Blockade YouTube channel.
Oh, look at that!
You can?
You can?
Where's that at?
At youtube.com/Brick City Blockade.
There we go.
Andrew Garrett, Mr. Commander, where can the good people find you across social media? Especially, you got some exciting stuff coming up as well.
I have a couple of things.
Couple things.
You can find me on Twitter at Commander Nerd. Instagram, Andrew62592. YouTube, Commander Nerd. Be on the lookout for a new podcast that I'm doing on my own channel. I'm still going to be a part of Brick City Blockade.
No, you're not.
But all right, Sean has final answer. Screw you guys.
That's so mean.
Just-
Flashbacks. Ah!
I mean, there's a guy down in Lancaster that might.
Oh wait.
no, Andrew, come back. Andrew, come back. You're on the podcast.
I'll be like, hey, they want you back. But yeah, myself and Gonzo are doing a podcast called The Nerd Cave. It's going to be more pop culture based. So, like movies we watched, video games, everything like that. Which video game I've been playing recently is Ghost of Tsushima, which is amazing.
Heard it is great.
And yeah, one of the episodes we're definitely doing movies that are so bad it's good.
Oh, I like that.
So it's going to be a lot of fun. It is going to be a podcast that's about once a month. But yeah, that'll be live on my YouTube channel. So you might see these guys pop up. You might see some other guests pop up. But yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. Ready for more gayness in Star Wars.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And also, I did want to point out the actor who plays Yord is also a gay actor. So that's pretty dope.
Yord Horde. Hashtag Yord Horde. I'm on Soul Train personally, but I mean, who knows? You guys can follow me.
This is not the 1970s. Come on.
Yeah, I know, right? You guys can follow me over on Twitter at @X_RobinWVote.
Boo.
I was waiting for that. You guys can also please make sure to follow the Brick City Blockade podcast over at Real Fandom Talk on Twitter, over on Instagram at Real Fandom Talk. Of course, subscribe here on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button right now. Get on into all this fantastic content. Go back and watch some of our cringe stuff that we did live from Exeter TV Studios.
Oh, God.
It's there for you to go and enjoy.
Definitely go watch those. They're definitely a trip to watch.
Yeah, they are. They are.
We'll definitely do
Especially when
react,
Robin
but-
just stares blankly into the camera.
Oh, no, wait, whoa. I might do that. I actually might do that.
You always do that.
By the way, Hyperspace Heroes, anyone ever tell Commander Nerd sounds like Jonah Hill? Is this true?
I've been told I sound like Napoleon Dynamite more than anything.
John
What's
Heder?
hot?
John Heater? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tina, you fat lord.
Hey, Laren, we'll see you next time, of course. And that's exactly where you can find us across social media. And hey, we've hit that time of the show.
You
Who
know where
knows?
they
We
can't
might
find
even
us?
start a Brick City Blockade gaming channel.
You know where
look
they
at that.
cannot find us at?
Where can they not find us at?
Fan Expo. Possibly.
Yeah,
we will not be going this year. So
We will not be going to Fan Expo this year.
We'll see how it is in a few years.
Indeed. But stay
You
tuned
might
for
see
all
us
different
at Rhode
stuff.
Island, though.
Yeah, you might see us
Yeah.
at Rhode Island Comic-Con.
maybe Manchester.
Granite State Comic-Con.
I mean, Granite-
for sure,
Maybe
yeah.
Star Wars Celebration Japan.
Who knows, folks, if you haven't gotten your tickets. Anyway, we will catch you next time here on Brick City Blockade podcast episode 68. Until next time, folks, we will see you soon and enjoy the Acolyte. And hey, remember, say something nice to somebody you know, because sometimes
Robin, you're pretty handsome.
I need to hear that. Hey, I appreciate that.
Andrew, you're looking good tonight.
Thanks. You too, Sean.
Thanks.
Next time,
We have a
guys.
lovely chat here.
Deuces. All right. We'll see you next time, folks. And as we always say here at the podcast,
May
hey,
the Schwartz be with you.
The shorts?
Shorts?
Schwartz.
The Schwartz. May the Schwartz be with you. Yes. And hey, for light and for life. We'll see you next time.